Hello, good afternoon. It's time for the marketplace. I'm Charles Aite. Here's what's coming up. Fuel prices increase as concerns loom over its impact on the cost of living in the country. We have a detailed analysis on this particular situation. Also, importers raise concern over the cedi dollar fluctuation. We'll hear from one of them as the Continental Free Trade Agreement kicks in. Plus, we trail the performance of the Special Task Force by the Ghana Tourism Authority to clamp down on leisure centers flouting orders to shut down as COVID-19 cases increase across the country. We have more on these coming up shortly after this break. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Charles Aite. Let's first start off on the performance of the cedi. We know that whenever fuel prices jump, of which we shall be having a discussion on shortly, the cedi is either the cause or the impact. This is very much important because the Ghana cedi lost value to the dollar just 11 days into 2021. The cedi in the first quarter of every year usually comes under some pressure due to the high demand for dollars by businesses to finance imports, often resulting in a depreciation of the local currency. To tackle the depreciation of the cedi in the first quarter of the year, the Bank of Ghana has allotted close to $50 million per its bi-weekly forex forward auctions for Q1 2021. But is this enough, especially when traders and importers consider the first month of January as peak seasons for their imports? Dr. Joseph Ben is an importer and also the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association. He joins us via Zoom. Doc, we're grateful that you joined us and a happy new year to you. First of all, how is the cedi dollar faring for traders and importers like yourself in this month of February?
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. And to tell the truth, the cedi have been against the dollar have been stable, even since 2020, throughout 2020. Okay. 2020 started with 5.7 and ended around 5.93, and we are still within that range. Today, if you ask me how much I'm buying dollar with the cedi, I would say that is 5.93. It means that the dollar against the cedi have been quite stable and is being sustained. That's what I can say. And this is happening because now import is being suppressed, because at this time it was expected that the dollar would have gone up against the cedi because of the Chinese holiday. When Chinese traders are leaving for their country, they change a lot of dollars and all that. But the same cannot be said this year because of the pandemic outbreak last year. It really suppressed trading activities. And this year starting also, we see that the containers that we are renting have gone up astronomically high, which is actually impeding on importation, because a container that used to cost $3,000 now, if you have to rent it, is $13,000. So many people, most importers are not importing at this time. So I expect that the first quarter will not see much importation. If there will be depreciation of the cedi, then it could be attributed to other factors rather than importation because of the reasons that I've stated.
Great. So from your end, everything is going on well, you rightly stated. But one, troubling matter, as you rightly stated in your submission, has to do with the renting of containers from 3,000 to 13,000. That's over 100% increase. What exactly is accounting for this?
More than 100%. It's almost 500%. It's all because of the COVID outbreak. It's not the problem is not being solved globally. You know that countries are still having this serious problem at hand. So exports by China to European countries and America and all that, they are not getting containers full back into China. So because of a lack of productivity in these destinations that I'm talking about, so they are finding it difficult to get replacement of these containers, thereby creating a lot of shortage. And so the price have really gone up astronomically from $3,000 to $13,000, which is actually working against importation.
But interestingly, this could play out negatively in terms of its impact on the Continental Free Trade Agreement area. How do you weigh this particular impact?
Yeah, the problem actually centers mostly on Asia, that's China mainly. But if you do intra-trade in Africa, then the cost of the containers here will not even go up. I don't think it will have any serious impact on us. But because when we are doing intra-trade here, we don't have the finished products here. Normally, we said that we do only 15% intra-trade among Africans. But it's because we do not consume raw materials. We consume finished products. And most of these countries do not have these finished products that we seek to buy from Asia and elsewhere. And so if the continental free trade will come to our benefit, then, of course, value addition is very key and very essential. So not until we have a lot more finished products here, we are not going to gain much as expected. But for the transportation aspect, because of proximity and other factors, the container charge might not have a very serious impact on us.
Dr. Oben, we're grateful that you joined us, and we're grateful that you made this known to us regarding the rental of containers at the port, which has increased over 100% from $3,000 to $13,000 in just a span of weeks. We shall be following paying a close attention on this development to give you updates as and when we do have them. But let's move towards another developing story. It's got to do with fuel prices. Many of us are starting the week with having to pay a little more for fuel. Fuel prices that average about 4.67 Ghana cedis per litre barely a month ago at the pumps is currently selling at an average of 5 cedis a litre at some pumps, representing a marginal variance of 43 pesos per litre or 9%. While government can't be blamed for these increases, in fact, they are largely attributable to international market price increases and the cedi's depreciation. But the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, has called for a decisive national planning, action, and to ensure Ghanaians are cushioned against the effects of the fuel increase. Duncan Amwa joins us via Zoom on his reasons why. Duncan, we're grateful that you joined us. First of all, are you saying that there isn't any contingency plan from government to curtail the impact of the fluctuating fuel prices?
Charles, let me say good afternoon to you and to your viewers. Clearly, Ghanaians are receiving or being given the raw end of the stick as far as fuel. If you keep doing the same thing and keep getting the same results, then it might be time to change to something quite different so that you could also sustain fuel prices for the Ghanaian. We do have a lot of institutions or energy establishments who I'm sure if you talk of when they were being founded or formed, they had an original object, that is to contribute meaningfully and significantly to the Ghanaian economy and to contribute to the Ghanaian to be profitable for all of us. And so it happens that you have a refinery that has been left, and yet we would produce the oil, send the oil back to Europe, the crude, and then we take monies meant for other things to go and import the finished product. We are saying that you can't continue to deprive your refinery from being productive. You also have on record the past 10 years, if you check the Platts pricing records, you would realize that it has a season, it's seasonal. There are times that the prices will shoot up and then eventually it declines and then it shoots again and then it shoots and it declines. That is why a strategic buffer like cost, if we are utilizing
I'm afraid we have lost Duncan there. We shall be working the lines to get him. But we have been on the ground to get some sight and sounds from the streets. Of course, as we engage transport drivers and Ghanaians on how the hike in fuel prices could impact their business as well as their standard of living. Listen in.
Our checks show that the review by some of these big oil marketing companies have even gone beyond the projected 3% as forecasted by Joy Business last week. Total, as of Sunday morning, was selling.
The prices, if they increase it, they're supposed to increase our fare too for us, because it's like you are going with somebody and you take lead and you tell the person that the person doesn't follow you. It will be a different distance. So if they increase the price of the fuel, they have to increase our fare too, so that we balance together.
This year, they've increased the fuel price once already. Did you increase your transportation fares?
No.
Okay, so when they increase it for the second time, you are going to increase your fares?
And our leaders supposed to say something about it so that they increase our own too for us.
Fuel ne de kamen ko anka yenya ma price ni nyina ba bi egina no say esa na de ahokyere ebre akwantufuo no timen kwa madwen de anka nyina ba bi egina na ma omuntum sa na me madwen eyeme me de anka egina ba bi egina ne de anka ebe me de because say to fuel price ni mu na to fare ni mu a na still ahokyere ne ba na eba o manum enti nka egina ba bi egina ne de anka mani ba je ho sa ma omuntum na price no akwantufuo no so ntimi omo ho hen ha omo kakra wo sika na omo yidi tua lolo fare no.
Oh, the fuel, if they increase, our work it come down, and at the same time the fuel go high, and the government didn't increase the fare for us, because now they increased 2 times. There is no increment for the road fare. Right now they come increase again. If it come like that, then our work it come hard, and at the same time if you increase the fare to the passengers to the work it go down, because now there's no people plenty in the system.
If they increase the fuel prices and they don't increase the lorry fares, would that affect you?
Yes, it will affect us, because now if you load go, we don't get people come, so they come empty. So if they increase the fare, they didn't increase the lorry fare, it will affect us too much. The government, we want to reduce the price so that the lorry fare remain how it is. Then we all now no money in the system, so that we all manage.
Na me ni ayi mom so office here that's the D response matum ba ko so mza tum sika wan ye betum.
For some sound from transport drivers there on the effect of an increase in fuel prices on their businesses. Well, Duncan, you're still with us. You heard some of them, and it's interesting how they laid bare the trickle-down effect. Fuel prices increase, they'll be in the position to increase transport fares, of which passengers could also have a brunt of this in terms of how it feels in their pocket. What do you think should be the better alternative moving forward?
We would plead with the transport operators, we would plead with the drivers to exercise a bit of restraint. If it so happens that at each turn of the way, fuel prices go up, they would increase transport fares. What they would end up doing to Ghanaians is to shortchange everybody. If my memory serves me right, somewhere in June, transport fares were increased. We increased transport fares to almost 20-30%. Then the understanding was, if the dynamics change because of the COVID pacing or social distancing in the vehicles and fuel prices haven't gone up, if the dynamics change, they were going to reduce fares. You recall in July, August, the dynamics had been reviewed. The COVID protocols had been reviewed to allow them to now pick the prescribed number of passengers
vehicle. Now they still decided not to even reduce the fares. We had on a number of occasions the reason to call on them to reduce transport fares. That was not done. And so it will be quite disingenuous if anybody at this point says that fuel prices have gone up by 9% or 9.3%, and so we would need to start increasing transport fares. They can start having the discussion, but I do not think that transport fares would need to go up at this point. Again, we are also asking authorities to have a second look at the pricing formula. You cannot continue to do the same things and expect different results. So let's look at a way to stabilize prices for Ghanaians so that people can plan their life. That's all we are asking. And in doing so, we believe that the Thermal Oil Refinery holds weight, also has a key role to play in there, if and only if we would resource them to play the role that the nation expects of all of them. We should be in a better place.
Duncan Amor, we're grateful that he joined us. He's CEO of Coolberg, raising issues regarding the incessant hike in fuel prices. Away from that, President Akufo-Addo has directed the Inspector General of Police to shut down any leisure center flouting COVID-19 protocols. The president disclosed this when he addressed the nation on what his government is doing to halt the spread of COVID-19. Active cases and deaths have been on the high side of the past 2 weeks as Ghana also discovers a new strain of the virus. Let's listen in to the president.
When I delivered update number 21 some 2 weeks ago, I urged all of us to continue adhering to the enhanced hygiene and mask wearing protocols that have served us well and which led us to the situation where we were witnessing a gradual decline in the number of active cases. However, since that time, we have seen an upsurge in the number of active cases, from a little over 900 to 1,924. Our COVID-19 treatment centers have gone from having 0 patients to now being 4 because of the upsurge in infections. Particularly worrying is the fact that the Ghana Health Service is recording on the average 200 new cases of COVID infections daily. The number of patients requiring hospitalization and intensive care is rising. The number of severe cases, which stood at 18 a week ago, has increased sharply to 120. 2 weeks ago, there was no critical case. We now have 33 in our treatment facilities. Again, according to statistics from the Ghana Health Service, the considerable number of persons who are severely ill are surprisingly relatively youthful persons with no previous underlying health conditions. The number of confirmed deaths has increased sadly from 338 persons to 352 within the period. Recent genomic sequencing undertaken by our scientists have established that some arriving passengers tested positive for new variants of COVID-19. These passengers have all been isolated. Furthermore, work is ongoing to determine the presence and extent of spread of the new variants in the general population.
Well, we stay a little longer on this issue. President Akufo-Addo has laid bare how dire the situation is. But the Ghana Tourism Authority had also constituted a task force to clamp down on leisure centers flouting these COVID-19 directives. The head of quality control at the GTA, Alex Boache, joins us via Zoom for some updates. Alex, we're grateful that you joined us, and we're grateful once again for your patience. You have been at the forefront of dealing with leisure centers, beachfronts, not closing down, contrary to what President Akufo-Addo is saying. Help us out. What has been the update so far?
Yes, thank you very much, Aite, and good afternoon to your viewers. As you will recall, during the festivities, the Ghana Tourism Authority embarked on enforcement exercise to ensure full compliance of the President's directive, as he stated in his 20th address. So we visited a number of beach recreational facilities as well as entertainment enterprises, which includes nightclubs, pubs, and cinema theaters. And all these establishments, as have been indicated by the president, must remain closed. So when unfortunately, some of them were operating. So we have to clamp down on those establishments, as well as display the notice of closure to inform the public that they are not supposed to operate.
So how many of these centers have we been able to close down?
Yes, when we had the exercise, we shut down about 4 cinema theaters, 6 nightclubs, about 12 beach recreational facilities, all of them in Accra. But we are replicating the exercise in other parts of the country. So these figures pertain to what we did in Accra.
Well, so moving forward shortly, the president is definitely not happy. Cases keep rising and most of these leisure centers keep flouting COVID-19 protocol. What's going to be the new direction of the task force moving forward? Are you going to be intensifying your actions, of which you should?
Sure, we're going to intensify the enforcement exercise to ensure full compliance. I mean, if you listen to what His Excellency the President recounted, the statistics, it's quite alarming. And our lives are at stake. All of us, we need to protect our lives. So I believe that this time around, the operators, as well as the prospective patrons, will cooperate with us so that we can ensure the full compliance of the President's directives as regards the imposition of restrictions. And even those who are allowed to operate, the tourism enterprises, they abide by the operational guidelines that we've outlined to those enterprises. So certainly, we are going to intensify it. And as I said, we are going to replicate it in other parts of the country. It's not going to be just in Greater Accra region.
Well, shortly before I let you go, we do know that the police force have been deployed to ensure, much more of compliance across the various, regional capitals. How is going to be the formation of your, task force moving forward to ensure compliance? Because it's not just about, having to push in moral assuasion. It's also about force.
Sure. Anytime you conduct enforcement exercise, we do it with the assistance and support of the Ghana Police Service. So what we did during the festivities, we did it in conjunction with the police service, as well as the media, selected media houses, which included a team from Joy FM. So definitely we are not going to do it alone as an authority. We always go with the law enforcement agency, which is the Ghana Police Service. However, I must also say that we are also contemplating, not that we are contemplating, we are going to also embark on awareness campaign to keep on reminding the operators as well as the prospective patrons to comply with the president's directive in our own interest to help protect lives. So that will be done alongside the use of coercion for compliance.
Let's see how that goes. Alex Boache, we're so grateful that he joined us. He is the head of quality control at the Ghana Tourism Authority. You did hear him. If you're owning or manning one of these shops, these leisure centers, just close down, as the President Kufuor has rightly stated, amid high cases of COVID-19. That's how we end this edition of The Marketplace. My name is Charles Aite. It's been a great pleasure coming your way. Join us same time tomorrow for more business stories. Good afternoon.